Hey everybody, this is Carolyn and Alex, and we are here with our very first segment of Incase You Missed It. Well, we're just going to talk about some things that happen in our community, give our take, and share some information about some stuff that might be coming up too. So, Alex, what do you got?
Yeah, so two things, both stemming from the Independent City Council meeting that was this past Monday. Let's see. So we have, first of all, the controversial condo project. We were all waiting on what was going to happen with these condos. Originally, I think it was 120 condos that were proposed to be built right next to the Heartland subdivision, which is right off of Madison Pike on the main drag going into town, if you want to call it the town of Independence. The biggest problems that have been mentioned by many people in Independence has been the concerns about traffic,
Of course.
especially with 120 of them. And also, there was no mention at all by city to expand that road. So it's still just a two-way road. And then also, there was some worry about the schools in terms of people think that Simon Kenton's already crowded as it is, and so they were worried with more people coming in potentially, are we going to need to build a new school? So the city council did decide to approve the condos at there went down to 110 condos, and they approved the zoning for them with just I believe Mr. Councilman Steffen saying no. And what was interesting is, and I still don't really understand how exactly our mayor is getting his numbers, but he mentions that he believes that the increase of traffic is only going to be 57 during the morning rush and 68 cars during afternoon rush hour. Now, I mean, again, it's 110 condos. I'm not sure where he gets his numbers from, but that's interesting.
Well, I can tell you that over here, I'm on the facilities committee for the
Uh-huh.
schools. And my first meeting, which has been my only meeting thus far, we got a folder full of paperwork that comes from the planning commission.
Mhm.
And it's just interesting to see the amount of development that we have going up and how many apartment or townhomes we have going in.
Right.
That's been kind of surprising, but we have a couple of big projects here in Hebron, and one of them is right across the street from the middle school, Connor Middle School. And it looks like it is going to be a massive complex. So I'm
Wow.
anxious to see what that's going to look like. And the teachers are a little concerned. And I know
Mhm.
already the bus drivers are concerned because the cross section there, it's already dangerous. I actually saw a kid get hit by a car there myself
Ooh.
one morning dropping off at the
Yikes.
school. And I'm concerned about the level of traffic increase out there at that already difficult drop off pickup point for the middle and high school and no crosswalk.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a little it's concerning. So it's interesting, how traffic is looked at when they're building
Right.
these developments. And I don't know if it's looked at as closely as it should be for certain things like that.
Right.
So,
Right.
but it's insane how many apartments and stuff that we see going up. They're
Truly,
every
truly, and I know that, it gets into that controversy of, like, well, is this NIMBYism? Like, what's going on? But really, the people of, Independence weren't, you know, worried about, "Oh, no, there's these condos going in my backyard," or anything like that, but it was truly they were concerned about the traffic, being the biggest problem with no other options. I think if the city had said, "Okay, well, we can expand and add another lane, or if we can add another way out of this subdivision for the people that live there, to help mitigate some of that," that might have been a better solution, but, that was not offered, and I don't know how much going from 120 to 110 really helps the scenario. Um, Reinersman
That's
did say that they're gonna be um there's gonna be a bunch of other multi-family units building up if they don't approve this. So I guess for some reason he felt like he could negotiate better or have some kind of more say with this specific developer. So I guess we'll see.
yeah, it's about all we can do. Sometimes I feel the decisions are made before anybody gets in the room.
Uh-huh.
That's
Yes.
unnerving. Well, yeah, I'd like
Very
to know
much.
more about that as that develops because I know Hebron, our entire life out here is warehouses and homes.
Oof.
It seems to be all we get out here, warehouses and homes. And
Yeah.
hopefully that starts to change at some point.
Right.
So, I actually attended 5 graduation ceremonies.
Ooh.
And so that's one of the things I wanted to talk about because one
Yes.
of them was something that I think is overlooked, and it was the very first graduation ceremony I attended, and I believe it was 170 um, students graduated with district diplomas. And
Hmm.
that means they're not tied to a specific one of our 4 big high schools. They're the
Mhm.
kids that would generally and potentially fall through the cracks because they needed different supports.
Wow.
And we've got a great alternative school system out here, and they've done a wonderful job um, really making sure these kids get the opportunity to graduate. And so it's kind of cool. So and I think we actually graduated 30 more this year than we did last year. So
Wow.
I think that's pretty amazing that we were able to do that. And I think as a whole, we probably graduated about 1,700 kids.
Oh no.
1,700 kids this year.
Wow. Wow. Okay. That's a lot.
So yeah, it was pretty awesome.
That's great.
So one of the cool things
Okay.
too is that, and I discussed this in the um, podcast that I did with Jerry Gell's dual credit.
Yes.
Had a
Yes.
lot of dual credit kids this year, and it's growing every year. So we have a lot of kids graduating with associate's degrees, not just high school diplomas, which is it's pretty spectacular that we're able to do that.
That's fantastic.
So, what else you got?
Other than that, Independence City Council decided to put it up on the ballot for the people to decide in the city to decide in November whether or not we want to zone for medical cannabis. So that was a 4-2 vote. Um, and the city did want to make sure, City Councilwoman Carol Franzen wanted to make sure that everybody was aware that this is for specifically zoning. So even if everybody in the city of Independence votes no to this ballot, medical cannabis, as we know, will be legal with a medical cannabis card on January 1st of 2025 for use. But in terms of zoning for dispensaries or growing that type of thing, that is what we are voting on in November.
Yeah, I know that this is something that's getting talked about in our county as well. And next time we meet, I'll have an update for you as to where we are on that. But I do not
Great.
think, from what I'm hearing, that the county is very supportive of it.
Mhm.
So I'll investigate a little further to see what the status is with in Boone.
Yes, yes, please let me know because I know it can be county specific and then it can also be city as well. So, um, which is fascinating to me because it just seems like it's very complex. But and I know there's also only a certain amount of spots available for dispensaries in Northern Kentucky. They have limited like the amount of them. There was a
I
lot
wish they
of
would.
there
I
was a
was
lot
gonna
of
say I wish they would
question.
do that with their vape stores.
Right? That would be great. We always seem to have more vape stores.
Well, that's what gets me is like if we're gonna have vape stores, why not have a dispensary? I mean, the
Right.
vape stores,
Right.
they opened one right up the street from the middle and high school campus,
Oh,
like
no.
2 blocks over. They don't even have to cross the street
Right.
to get
Right.
to it.
That's
It's just crazy.
that's crazy.
So
That's just asking for trouble. Yeah.
but
It'll be
then we
interesting.
yeah, it'll be interesting. But in speaking of Boone, we had our
Mhm.
225th birthday party. Um,
Ooh.
so that was big news, and there was a kickoff. It was actually on Saturday. I couldn't make it to the opening ceremony because it happened at
Okay.
the same time of the I think it was the Cooper graduation.
Okay.
It was 10 in the morning, and Judge Moore had invited all of the elected officials. So they had a lot of the elected officials in Boone County there, and they were able to learn a lot about the Archives Commission and the History Department and some of the work that's going on in the county to preserve history. And I'll be
Cool.
talking to Hillary Delaney, who
Okay.
is our premier African American historian in the county.
Mm.
I'll be talking to her on a community conversation soon about Black history in Boone County,
All
which
right.
which is a very fascinating history in and of itself.
I'm sure.
So
Yes.
I'm anxious for everybody to hear that. And we did at the then after the kickoff, they had a thing at the fairgrounds, and it was supposed
Okay.
to go till midnight, but it got canceled in the evening, or the evening part got canceled because of the thought that there was going to be bad weather and they were supposed to have fireworks and stuff.
Oh.
So
Oh.
they canceled the band and the fireworks for that night, but they had roughly from noon to 6 o'clock a whole bunch of community organizations set up, and the Florence Community Band was there, the SAR was there doing demonstrations, and the my DAR group was there, and then we set some stuff up with Boone County schools, and all of the schools were asked to do time capsules. And
Okay.
so this was on display, which was kind of cool. So we didn't get every school, but we got most of them.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So, and then Juneteenth is the next thing. So I don't know if you all have anything going on for Juneteenth out in your way, but out here they are hoping to have a Juneteenth this year. Last year
Right.
was supposed to be the first one, but it got rained out. So this year
Okay.
they're doing it. So it would technically make it the first one, even though it's the second year they've tried to do it. So
Okay.
it looks like it's going from like 12 to 5 on Juneteenth, which is the 19th of June. And
Great.
I'm excited to see what they have and, how they
Yeah.
celebrate it. And I'm going to do a little snippet of one of our 5 minute snippets of what does that mean on Juneteenth, and that'll be
Perfect.
posted. And so, because I know a lot of people, they don't know what it is.
Right. Right.
And one thing
That'll
that's
be great.
interesting that I'm actually curious about that I'm going to ask Hillary is Juneteenth is based on an incident in Texas where it's
Mhm.
thought that that was the last Confederate community of enslaved Americans, and that was in June 19th, 1865. But I believe that if I'm looking at this right from when I looked at some of the stuff that's on the county website, I think we had slaves still in slavery in Boone County until December of that year. So
Wow. Yeah, maybe.
I have
Huh.
to look into that, and it was just
Wow.
very interesting
That
to
is very
kind of read
interesting.
that, and so I'm curious to see if what that was about, or maybe the date's wrong somewhere. But I'm
Yeah.
anxious to hear what she has to say because I know from what I know of the Boone County history that African American history is it's very very dramatic, and it's probably not going to
Mhm.
be for young listeners. So,
Right. Right. Yes. Well, you will definitely have to report back for sure. And I hope that there's a decent turnout for, I guess, essentially their first Juneteenth parade.
oh, I hope so too. And I mean, I think they're doing food trucks and all sorts of
Great.
stuff. So I'm hoping that it's going to be like a good community event and that people will understand it a little bit more. Um,
Yes.
Earlier, I think it was earlier this year or late last year. I can't remember exactly when it happened, but they did a grave marking for the African Americans in the Florence Cemetery.
Okay.
And so that was a really cool thing that they did. And so there's a lot more of an effort for Black history and
Yeah.
understanding that element of our county history. It's a dark side of our county, so people
Sure.
don't like to talk about it, but you have to talk about all of history, not just the parts that make you feel good.
Right. Right.
So,
No, that's
and you
great.
have,
I love that effort.
and you have to talk about it without guilt. Like you can't,
Mhm.
you can feel what you want, but you have to talk about it without taking it, I don't want to say taking it personal, that just doesn't sound right, but you know what I mean. You have to
Right.
be able to talk about it.
Yeah. No, it's
And
it's part of everybody's history here in America, just the
yeah,
same as, World War II or whatever. I don't know.
yeah, and you have to be able to talk about it and learn from it so that we don't
Right.
repeat it. But that's why I think
Exactly.
learning all of the history is important. So, but Hillary's pretty amazing. She's got amazing knowledge, so it might end up becoming a multi prong series with her on different
Yes.
things because she's just so I just love her. She's just brilliant.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. Yeah, no, we don't even have anything like that in Independence with Juneteenth or anything yet. I have a feeling it'll be a little ways down the road, but we make progress our own little way. We did last year, I think, just got he or she as language added to our city council language.
Oh,
So
really?
we're getting there. Yeah.
It's
But
funny. So,
yeah,
yeah, so I'm excited about that. I'm interviewing the incoming superintendent for our community connections on
great.
Tuesday. So hopefully, we'll get that loaded. The goal is by Friday, hopefully. And
Fantastic.
so lots of cool stuff happening. And I know you have some people lined up too that we're going to talk to.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna talk to Brian Romer whenever we get that, probably later on in towards the end of June. Who is running for city council. He has his signs up already at different businesses and independents and just, different homes and things like that. And I know he's real excited about his run. I'm excited about his run, so I would love to hear more about it, and especially with reference to everything that's kind of been happening in our city council lately.
Well, I get excited to hear campaign stories. And that's something that
Yeah.
I'm going to speak with Leslie Chambers in a one on one. And we're not talking about business. We're going to talk about what it's like to run a campaign for the first time and
Mm.
go through your freshman sessions
That'd be
because
great.
it's
Yes.
been a learning curve for both of us. And so I'm sure that we're going to have some fun stories to tell about our experience and as our first time in civic leadership. So I get
Yes.
excited when I hear that we're going to hear some campaign stories because you
Yeah.
always get some good ones when you get out there.
For sure, for sure, and I feel like you always meet interesting characters, and it's gonna be great. I'm
I
excited to
know.
hear about this too.
I know. I think we should do just a snippet series at one point about like the strangest thing that happened to you on the campaign trail.
That's funny. I will tell you, probably the strangest thing, because I just got done, volunteering and knocking doors for our state rep here, Kim Mosier. Um, there was a snapping turtle in somebody's driveway, pretty far from a lake. Didn't see the lake, at all. Apparently, it was, like, at least 500 feet probably from the snapping turtle, and at first we looked at it and we thought it was maybe somebody's tortoise that got loose because, when you're just looking pretty far away, you just see this turtle, and then we got closer to it. No, it was definitely a decent sized snapping turtle, and we got lucky because Kenton County water was in the area anyway, and they were driving down the street and they picked it up, put it in their truck, and brought it over to the pond.
Oh my gosh. Those things are terrifying.
They are
I
terrifying. But
I think
people
I
came out because their dogs, I guess, were barking at the turtle. So people came out. They came to us. We didn't even have to go knock on the door.
That's hysterical.
It was
Maybe
great.
that should be the mascot for the campaign.
For real. For real.
Snapping turtle. Put one on a leash and try to walk it.
Woo!
No,
They're
I
feisty.
think the weirdest thing that was said to me or asked of me when I ran a couple years ago was
Mhm.
asking if there were litter boxes in our schools.
Oh, no.
I was like, I didn't know where that was coming from. So
Right?
I had Sophie with me and I asked her, I said, "What is this about?" That she told me. And I was like, "That's a thing." She's like, "Not here." So I was floored, but I can attest there are no litter boxes in our school.
Woo!
But it just goes to show that people will see this stuff on the internet and they'll assume that it's here in our neck of the woods. And I'm like, you live here. You know better.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not who we are as a community. We're not
No.
there.
No,
We're
we're not there.
we're not even close to being there. And I don't know if I want to get there.
No. No, please no.
But that's probably the most bizarre
Huh.
thing I was asked, and it was sincere. It was a sincere question.
Yeah.
I was very
That's when it gets
concerned about
scary.
it. I was
Yeah.
just, like, stunned. I'm like, it's it's just funny because there's things that are people think that these things are things here
Right?
because they're in some obscure place on the West Coast or something, and it's like, "No. No.
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 This is Kentucky." This is
That's
we don't do that.
right. Right.
We don't have that in
Oh.
ours. I mean, I just can imagine if it was the case, it would have been all over the news.
Sure. Exactly.
So,
Right.
I just never know. So, that's actually something I'm looking forward to is hearing some of the questions I get asked.
Mm,
And
yes.
so, because it's just always amazing what people say and what people ask
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, all right. Well, we have survived our first one of these. Hopefully, it's listenable for our listeners.
Right.
And thank you for listening to us. And I promise we'll get
Yes.
better at this.
Yes. At least you got some laughs.
So, all right, Alex. Well, I will talk to you later.
Sounds good, Carolyn.
All right. Bye.
Bye.